Now, that story by our investigative reporter, Francis Ontomwa, leads us to a discussion that we're having with you on a social media platform, whether the Nyumba KUMI initiative that was launched by government several years ago is working. And of course, this morning we are talking to Oscar Awiti, a security expert, talking to us from our city center studio, that is I&M building. And Oscar, good morning. And of course, Kenyans are still trying to come to terms with what happened, just a few days ago, where we saw several Kenyans lose their lives in the hands of terrorists, others injured, others rescued. But the question is, would the Nyumba KUMI initiative help if it was applied, especially where the terrorist is said to have been living in Kiambu County?
Thank you very much. Nyumba KUMI initiative was meant to complement security policing. And it's what a great idea. With the growth in technology and with the growth in sophistication of equipment that would be used in commission of crime, it is important that Nyumba KUMI initiative be there and be implemented effectively. There were some challenges, I think, that came with the implementation of Nyumba KUMI initiative. As much as it was a very great idea, I think it is necessary to find out whether rolling out Nyumba KUMI through the police was a good idea. As much as it is a good thing, I think it is important to review the implementation of the same. One, if it has to work effectively, is the approach friendly? Is the approach attractive to the public? Nyumba KUMI initiative fully depends on free delivery by members of the public, by the people living within that setup. Now, for them to do this, it is important that they first understand the reasons for which it was formed, and that calls for civic education.
Awiti, the reason as to why I'm asking you this question, it's because immediately the incident happened, we saw, one of Anchor, Sophia Nuna, talk to businessmen along the Dusit area, where Dusit area is located, and they're saying they saw a car, the specific car that is under investigations right now, saying they saw that car parking there several times, and at one point, one of the terrorists, gave them 100 shillings, gave one of them 100 shillings for watching over the car. So does Nyumba KUMI apply in that kind of a situation? We've also seen that story that has been done by my colleague Francis Ontomwa. We've seen a resident talking, saying that they were suspicious of one of the terrorists who was living there, but they didn't report this. So at what point should we apply the Nyumba KUMI initiative?
Nyumba KUMI initiative should come up with structures. Structures that should be able to bring together private security that guard a premises or a facility or a home for that matter. And therefore, when you put in proper working structures, then it will accommodate the guard, to communicate with the community, to communicate with the people, to let them know that this is the reporting, who should I report it to? This is the challenge, this is the... what happens with the current security, especially the private security, is like that they are able to pass this information, but where they are guarding, there are no proper structures that guide them on what they should report, who should they report to. And again, in the spirit of trust, sometimes they wonder, if you report this to this person, is the information secure? I still repeat, Nyumba KUMI initiative is a beautiful initiative. It has to remain there. It has to be implemented. But the approach should change. It should be able to entice people. It should be able to bring together the security structures, not just the police.
But you're bringing two important points there. First, there has to be trust between Kenyans and security forces, and you're also bringing the issue of, has Nyumba KUMI failed? Because Nyumba KUMI is supposed to address issues of rising insecurity in the country. So are you trying to say that Nyumba KUMI initiative has failed? And at the same time, when you're talking about trust, and this is something that Kenyans have actually raised, because they say when we report some of these issues to the police, there is that concern of probably you might be connected with the information that you've been given, or you might also be arrested.
I agree, but then to some extent, we first need to appreciate what Nyumba KUMI is. We need to understand what Nyumba KUMI is. The implementation of Nyumba KUMI is very important. So for the Nyumba KUMI to deliver its objective, you need to understand its approach. Is it right for the police to be the people delivering Nyumba KUMI and the chiefs? Is it right to engage non-governmental organizations? Is it right to work with the civil society? Yeah? And you realize if you work with civil society, NGOs, to carry out a civic education in the first place, so that people must embrace that this Nyumba KUMI is here to help us. And if they embrace that, it creates a coherent relationship. There is a merge between the two, and they work on a way through which communication flows, and then it flows to the right party, whom then does not misuse the information.
So why is there fear to embrace the Nyumba KUMI initiative?
Of course, when you talk about fear, you are talking about the relationship between the police and members of the community. People want to understand Nyumba KUMI. You know, Nyumba KUMI may be within the interior and the police to manage, but then the implementation may require working with other persons that people believe in, people trust. The police is looking good today. They are working towards their relationship with the members of the public. You may not miss an element or two who may misbehave, and then people develop problems, in the process. But then I can assure you things are looking brighter. Nyumba KUMI initiative is a good idea. What should happen is that it should be, the implementation approach is what should be looked into. Yeah?
When you talk about, when you talk about the implementation process, is what needs to be looked into, specifically what needs to be looked into by the government?
Is it the chiefs? I remember what Francis Kimemia then talked about when he was delivering the approach. He was considering the chiefs going to the ground, people giving information. You know, it was good, but then people have developed a phobia in passing information or talking to the police. First, what will my neighbor think of me if I continue talking to the police and telling him A, B, C, D? So the approach should change. You should find a way through which you talk to the setup of the community, the estate that you live in. There is a group, there is a local person, there is a committee responsible for security. Okay, what are the challenges? So you should be coming in through, if it has to be done by the police, then they should be coming in a way that people feel that, they are also helping them. Is there an incident in the estate that the police have come in to support? What is the response? Have they been there to talk to people about it? So when they try to initiate community policing, when they start talking about, Nyumba KUMI, then it makes sense. But when you want to deliver it through the local chief, what are the KPIs? Okay? Who is responsible? Who reviews the delivery? So everything that has been reported, can they come back and tell them that, yes, we reported about this, this is work in progress, this is what we have been able to deliver so far. If that is missing, then it will not be easy to deliver it.
You're saying we should not go to the approach of reporting this matter to the area chief, but it's about, talking to the people who have been given the mandate within estates or courts where people stay, information, which takes me to an interesting question then, Mr. Witi. Are we likely to call, the WhatsApp groups that tenants have as Nyumba KUMI initiative? Because there's so many estates that have, or apartments or courts, have WhatsApp groups where they discuss issues affecting the estate. Should you call that Nyumba KUMI initiative?
It all works towards Nyumba KUMI initiative. If an estate is interested in managing their own security, there are specific things that they will drive. But the reason members of the estate pass the information to the group is because they believe and trust that the group is for the good of the estate, is for the security of the estate. Initially, and you may want to remember this, the relationship between the public and the police probably may have not been very good. I am sure it's looking better now. Yeah? But then now, the reactive nature of the approach is what probably is a missing link. What is it that is being done proactively to be able to engage the people? Now, Nyumba KUMI is one such proactive approach. yeah, in making sure that security is managed within a community setup. Talking and working with the chiefs is beautiful. It's not bad, yeah? But then what I'm saying is, how is it organized? Who is reporting to who? What else are you being involved in that gives back to the community? Is there a budget for Nyumba KUMI, okay, for them to deliver? Is there a budget? What is it that is there for them? Are they being driven by, supported by people who probably would be criminals, okay? So that is what I'm talking about. So there should be resource with it. Then there's the public image. There's always an assumption that when you report this to the police, probably you'll be involved, and so on and so forth. And this has drastically changed, yeah? The direction has shifted. Whenever there is a challenge of security, it is a business to everybody. Security is not a problem of the police. I think that is what people should understand. Security is a problem of everybody. Wherever you are, it is your security first.
So are you trying to say that Nyumba KUMI has, you know, it has little to show ever since the government introduced it?
There may have been so much to show, but there may have been no proper channels of showing it, yeah? These are the things that are missing. So it is important to make sure that, you know, the structures are built. There are causes and pros that should be addressed. Yeah, Nyumba KUMI remains a proactive approach to dealing with security issues, and that is what people need to understand. Civic education will work better, okay? How will the police deliver it? Yeah, there are government departments like culture and social services. How is the ministry or the Department of Culture and Social Services integrated into management of Nyumba KUMI, for example? What is it that they're doing to train? If a community brings up an issue of security, what is it that they have done to pick up the issues? Are they able to come back to build some trust?
So here we are talking about civic education, which is lacking.
Yes, civic education is lacking. Yeah, it has to be there. And probably there is need to engage and work with some NGOs, probably who are involved in matters of community, because they address alongside other issues, other social issues. Remember, terrorism and all these attacks that come with it is a delicate issue, and everybody will be willing to talk about it. So if the NGO that has supplied them with water is the right person to talk about security issues, why not engage them? I think those are the...
Okay, let's bring in another aspect of a tenant and a landlord. So how is the landlord supposed to, you know, implement this Nyumba KUMI initiative? Just leave alone the aspect of these WhatsApp groups that have been formed where tenants talk amongst themselves. But as a landlord, how are you supposed to implement this Nyumba KUMI initiative to know your tenant and the kind of activities that happen in that house?
Just like a bank, in the bank we have something called KYC. You have to know your customer because you're in a legal business relationship with that customer. Now, in the perspective of a landlord and a tenant, it is important that the landlord understands the tenant. Who is your tenant? It has been handled so tertiarily. The government should find a way of making a landlord responsible for anything that takes place within his house. Okay? So if your tenant is a thief, if your house is going to be used to be killing people, you should be held responsible.
But so Mr. Witi, I tend to disagree with you over there because how would I know my tenant is a thief or my tenant is a terrorist? Like that Mushatha story that my colleague Francis Ontomo has done, probably the landlord didn't even know that my tenant is a terror suspect. Because the police are talking about a hole inside that house. And once as a landlord, I rent out my house to you, whatever activities that happen inside there, I might not know because I might not be coming to your house every time to inspect.
I don't have to inspect your house every time as a landlord. Yeah? What I need to do is that when you're coming on board, the onboarding process must be very clear and must be very guided. And it must touch on specific areas. And you must, if it brings about indemnity, you have to indemnify me that you'll be responsible for any illegal thing that you'll be doing within the house. And so there should be a set of checklists that must be ticked into the box as you get. What has been happening, and you know this very well, is that many times Kenyans work with agents to bring people into their houses. They don't know who lives there. The tenants don't even understand who, the owner of the house is, the landlord for that matter. And therefore, you need to put proper structures of communication between you and the tenant. Things to be ticked in the box. What do you do? Where do you do it? Give me the address. Other than the lease that we just brought and people sign, there should be a business of identity, getting to know who you are. What are you doing? For what reason? How? And that may not be an interview between one another, but probably captured. And whatever has been captured there has to be taken for verification. Yeah? Who does the due diligence of whatever has been captured? Those are structures that should be put in place. They are not there.
So it's not just a matter of your tenant telling you, probably, I'm a business person or I'm employed in this company. What you're telling us this morning as a security expert is that you verify the information that your tenant is giving you with the government?
The tenancy laws and the tenancy agreements should be reviewed in such a way that the landlord must be responsible for the person living in his house. How? Then they will be able to put together the requirements of what a person living in the house should be able to give out. These disclosures, therefore, should be exposed, to some due diligence of sort. And if you find that the due diligence doesn't match, then you've got a reason to pick a conversation with this person. If this is not put in place, then the exposure continues. And that is why first you find somebody has hired a car and is a criminal, somebody is living with you and is a criminal, and so on and so forth.
All right. Now, let's talk about the team that was put in place by the government to implement the Nyumba KUMI initiative. Should they be held responsible for some of the insecurity matters that have been happening? Because from your explanation, when we began this conversation, it looks like the Nyumba KUMI initiative doesn't have much to show in terms of its successes.
Just get me right. Nyumba KUMI initiative must be having so much to show, but they don't know how to show it because of some things that have not been put together. Number two, Nyumba KUMI initiative is a proactive approach in management of security within the society. And so it was still young and it's growing. Yeah? And so as it grows, there are a lot of progress that should be noted. There is a budget to it, how it will be rolled out. There is supervision to it. There is a county commander. From the hierarchy of county commander, it will be rolling down to the people. The report should be coming up. They should be addressed, okay? So there is so much to show. Nyumba KUMI is good, and I would like it to come out clearly that Nyumba KUMI is a proactive initiative. Community policing is a proactive initiative, okay? So what is it for them to show is a lot, but how are they going to? Secondly, a lot of security issues are not supposed to be really on the public domain to be addressed.
All right.
So not everything is supposed to be on paper, that there was robbery here, we have dealt with it like this, but within the police, they are managing those issues, and it makes a lot of sense if they manage them quietly, and take people to court and so on and so forth.
So it takes me back to the question I'd asked you earlier when we were beginning this conversation. So who has failed when it comes to successful implementation of the Nyumba KUMI initiative? Is it members of the public? Is it the task force, or rather the team that was put in place, the Nyumba KUMI initiative team? Or who has failed in this whole process of implementation of the Nyumba KUMI initiative?
Remember, for you to succeed, when you're delivering a subject, particularly things that are linked up with people, there is need to have the people at the triangle, you have the process, and probably the systems that you're going to use. Now the three must work together. Between the triangle of people, processes, and the systems, then you put in some controls. You are not going to say the people have failed, because people depend on the process, and the process also probably depend on a system to be used. And within this comes with a lot of things that need to be put in place. So what I'm saying is, I cannot say that they have failed. It was a beautiful team. Kaguthi is a man who was first appointed in this, and he delivered very well. Yeah, he has a history of working with the people, and he's a history. You saw what he did in Kisumu, what he did in Buruburu. So he's a person who, the approach was really good. But then the implementation was probably the failure, not the people, not the process. But then these are some of the things that need to be beefed up. And I'm sure the government is looking at it. Remember, security is dynamic, and security has really changed. Yeah, the appetite and delivery of security has changed.
All right.
And this calls for development on specific areas and approaches, which our police is doing today.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. That is Oscar Awitia, security expert, talking to us about the Nyumba KUMI initiative. It is also a discussion that just to remind you that we're having with you on a social media platform. We're asking you this morning, do you think the Nyumba KUMI initiative is still functional as a way of actually preventing crime in the country? Talk to us on a social media platform at KTN Kenya, at Zeda Brenda, hashtag KTN News Center, when you're giving us your feedback, whether you think the Nyumba KUMI initiative is still effective in preventing, effective in crime prevention. So let's have that conversation. Let's continue.